Hello, everybody. This is Ron Dittmers talking to you from the Erasmus Academy Recording Studios, and we have with us today Ben, who's our guest speaker. Ben, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
Great. Okay, we're continuing. This is the second segment on Hermann Hesse, and all you have to do is follow the style of writing of the author here, and you can also earn a Nobel Prize for Literature. I mentioned that earlier that of the many honors that he received, this culminated in 1946 in his winning the Nobel Prize for Literature, actually, and also mentioned that he, among all the German writers, his works have been read more than any other German author in the United States. Okay, so as we do before, our practice is I'll read aloud and Ben will repeat after me, and as he does, please repeat with him, and I'll ask him questions regarding the structure of the sentences and try to imagine in your own mind what the answers would be. Some people have even paused the recording after I ask the question and try to answer the question fully before, and then turning the recording back on to listen to the answer, which is a good method too. Okay, so let's start from the beginning and see if I can show a little mark, indicate here. Do you see where the mark is there, Ben?
I do.
Okay, so let's read a little bit together. Kaum wusste Hans Fuch, ob noch wache oder eingeschlummert sei. Everybody?
Kaum wusste Han Fug, ob noch wacker oder eingeschlummert sei.
Okay, in this paragraph, or in these sentences, also we have several instances of the subjunctive case or the mood. Here's one, what here, wache, and here is sei. These are both examples of the subjunctive mood, which is used in German oftentimes for hypothetical, something that's hypothetical, supposed, conjectural, or contrary to fact, or in indirect speech when reporting something that someone else said that's not actual factual or facts. Okay, so in this up to this first comma, where's the verb, Ben?
The wusste.
Good. So it means he knew. So Han Fuk is obviously the subject. Notice when you have anything participial in the beginning of a sentence, it reverses the verb and the subject of the sentence. And then going on, where are the two verbs in the next section?
The wacker and angeschlummert sei.
Good. So wache means to wake, and this is a first example of this subjunctive, and then this is also another one. Whether an up introduces a subordinate clause, so Hand Fuch hardly knew whether he still was awake. We get every third word in English has its root in German, actually, and this is one of them. Or oder had fallen asleep, and they give you remember all the words that have a little circle next to them are indicated to the right as far as their meaning or equivalent to a word that is more familiar. Whether he still was awake or whether he had fallen asleep. Notice that this is the present tense, but in the sequence of tenses principle, whenever something is in the past tense in the main clause, whatever is in the subordinate clause, i.e. which is subordinate to the main clause, is affected by the tense of the main verb here. So I wouldn't say whether he is still awake because this is past, but translated as was awake or had fallen asleep. Going on, als ein leises Geräusch vernahm, everybody?
Als ein leises Geräusch vernahm.
Und neben dem Baumstamm einen Unbekannten stehen sah.
Und neben dem Baumstamm einen Unbekannten stehen sah.
Great. You're reading very well. Okay, and then up to here, where's the verb? Let me just erase the earlier stuff too.
Vernahm.
Yeah, as he, and then they give you a equivalent to hörte, as he heard, and then here's the subject. So remember we are boxing the verbs. Always look for the verb first, you could say he heard, and it's singular, so you say he, so you're looking for a singular subject, which is here. And where's the direct object, Ben?
The Geräusch.
Geräusch, yeah, ein leises Geräusch. What gender is Geräusch, and how can you tell?
It is neuter
Mhm.
from you can tell from the lack of the E in eine.
Yeah,
Or
ein leises, which is neuter. If this were masculine, it would be einen. If it were feminine, it would be eine. So it's very important to learn the gender of nouns because it changes how the indefinite articles are formed, or which ones you choose, and also the ending of the adjectives. Okay, and he heard a light sound. And where's the next verb up to here? Let's read that. Und neben dem Baumstamm einen Unbekannten stehen sah. We read that already. So where's the verb, Ben?
The saw.
Saw, yeah. And this comes from sayen. This happens to be a strong verb. The three principal parts are sayen, sag, sayen, from which we get our words to see in English. Actually, the three principal parts are see, I see, I saw, I have seen. So English has three principal parts as well in these verbs. Okay, and he saw, and where's the direct object?
The einen Unbekannten.
Yeah, so he saw an unknown person, which here gives you the meaning here to the right. And then he saw him, and this is actually stehen, is serving as an adverb. So adverbially, he saw an unknown person standing, and then neben takes the dative, so this standing next to the tree trunk, to a tree trunk. You want to just translate? Let's see. So he saw, and also he saw. So in this sentence, he saw an unknown person, and then after this comma, let's read this going forward. Einen alten Mann in einem violetten Gewande.
Einen alten Mann in einem violetten Gewande.
Und mit ehrwürdigen Mienen.
Und mit ehrwürdigen Mienen.
Good. So he saw an unknown person, and then they're going to, in apposition, they're going to give you more description of who that unknown person is. Again, in parallel case and the accusative. And so he saw an unknown person standing next to the tree trunk, an old man in a violet garment, and with dignified air. In German it's plural, idiomatically in English it's singular. Okay, up to this point, you want to just read slowly for everybody how to work through these sentences in English, starting with Hanfuk hardly knew. Go on.
So Hanfuk hardly knew whether he was still awake or had fallen asleep, as he heard a light sound and saw an unknown person standing near the tree trunk, an old man in a violet garment and with a dignified air.
Great, fantastic. Okay, let me just erase that. Okay, going on from here. Okay, richtete sich auf, everybody.
Richtete sich auf.
Und begrüßte ihn mit dem Gruß.
Und begrüßte ihn mit dem Gruß.
So up to the comma. So there are two verbs. Where are they, Ben?
Richtete sich auf.
Good. Nice. You included the separable prefix that floats out to either the end of the clause or before a coordinating conjunction, which is right here. So this is a separable prefix. Richtete, it just means to set up, but aufrichten, to set oneself up, i.e. to stand up. So this auf floats only to this coordinating conjunction, which is here, or to the end of the clause. And then where's the next verb?
Und begrüßte.
And he greeted him, this man, with the greeting. And then going on, der den Greisen und Vornehmen zukommt.
Der den Greisen und Vornehmen zukommt.
Yeah, and the der is a relative pronoun which has its antecedent where, what does it refer back to? And I indicate that with the arrow. Yeah. So he greeted him with a greeting, which, and the form of this has three determinants: the gender and the number of the antecedent, and third is the role that this relative pronoun plays in the subordinate clause. Which is due zukommen, which comes to, literally, old men and distinguished men, which is due to old men and distinguished men. And then actually, with these longer sentences, you could actually, in the English translation, you could actually put a period here if you wanted to, because it sort of makes sense. Going on, der Fremde aber lächelte und sprach einige Verse. Everybody?
Der Fremde aber lächelte und sprach einige Verse.
Good. You can see my marks here, can't you? Okay.
Yes.
So where's the verb? There are two verbs up to the comma.
Lächelte und sprach.
Lächelte, that a umlaut a little bit sharper, and so this means he smiled. And Fremde is the stranger. So the stranger, however, this means but also however. The stranger, however, smiled and spoke some verses. This is direct object. Going on. In denen war alles, everybody?
In denen war alles,
was der junge Mann soeben empfunden hatte.
Was der junge Mann soeben empfunden hatte.
Pronounce this soeben because it's
soeben.
Soeben. Good. So in which, and what is the antecedent for this? What does this refer back to?
Verse.
Yeah, to the verses. So in which was everything. Now they're going to explain what this everything is, comma, and then this is a relative pronoun. But when you have something that's indeterminate, was is used instead of a definite article. So this is the antecedent for this, in which was everything, which, now they're going to explain it, which the young man had just felt or perceived, going on, so vollkommen und schön und nach den Regeln der großen Dichter ausgedrückt. Go ahead. So vollkommen.
So vollkommen und schön und nach den Regeln der großen Dichter ausgedrückt.
This is a participial phrase ending with a past participle expressed. And normally, to resolve that, you start with the past participle first. Expressed so perfectly, adjective made used as an adverb, so perfectly, and beautiful or beautifully, and according to the rules, nach plus dative can mean according to, and according to the rules of the great poets. This is genitive plural of the great poets. Going on, dass dem Jüngling vor Staunen des Herz stillstand.
Dass dem Jüngling vor Staunen das Herz stillstand.
Yeah, that the result. Where's the verb here between das and the end of the sentence?
Stillstand.
Good. Let me just erase this earlier stuff here. Okay. Stillstand from stehen, past tense. It stood still. That, and then the subject is? Das Herz.
The Herz.
Yeah, this is a little bit idiomatically, this is how it's expressed in German. The heart stood still to, or with regard to the young man. And just to resolve that, you would say that the youth's heart stood still for Staunen, in wonder. Okay, let's see. Erich auf. Why don't you start right here? Did you translate that earlier? Yeah, just read from here. Er richtete sich auf. He stood up, and just read, slowly so we can follow.
Mm-hmm. He stood up and greeted him with a greeting, which is due old and distinguished men.
Slow down a little bit.
Sorry?
Slow down a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead, the stranger.
The stranger, however, laughed and spoke some verses in which was everything what the young man just then had perceived.
Great.
So perfectly and beautifully expressed according to the rules of the great poets, that the youth's heart stood still in wonder. Great.
As you can, when you take this apart, I mean, this writing is just miraculous. I feel it. Just some really wonderful ways of expressing things. Okay, thanks so much. Sorry for going over the time. We meant to record this in 9 or 10 minutes. We're at 15, but thanks so much for tuning in, and talk to you later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.